going on YouTube? Coming at you with a video response from my good buddy CardCutter23. Garrett is having a contest where he wants us to talk about why or why not we watch NASCAR or who our favorite driver is. So I thought I'd make this is my first ever video response. When my whole childhood, I used to think NASCAR was the stupidest thing. My grandparents used to make me watch it. I never really understood it. I did it just to make them happy. And I didn't really start watching NASCAR until I got to high school. And my best friend, he's still my best friend to this day. He's a huge Kyle Busch fan. This was 2 or 3 years ago. And one day he's just like, you gotta give it a chance. So I watched a NASCAR race with him. And it was very different from what I remembered as a kid. It was just so much action, and there were crashes everywhere, and I loved it. So I eventually started watching more and more NASCAR with him or by myself, and I got really into it. And then he told me NASCAR was a lot more interesting to watch if you had a favorite driver to root for. So at the time, I wanted to have a favorite driver who was teammates with his driver to make things kind of interesting. So I had two options: Denny Hamlin or Joey Logano. So being a new NASCAR fan, I didn't really know much about either one, but I wanted a die cast because I heard that was the cool thing to have in your collection if you were a NASCAR fan. Was to get a die cast of your favorite driver. So I went on eBay to try to find one of either Hamlin or Logano. And all the I looked up Hamlin stuff, and all his stuff was going for $80, $90. But then I looked at Joey's stuff, and the first thing that popped up was autographed diecast of Logano, $16. Yep, there's my new favorite driver. So that's how I picked Logano. And when I first started following him, I didn't really know much about him. But in these last 2 or 3 years, I've really started watching NASCAR more and more, and I would consider myself a pretty big fan now. And I've stuck with him. He's my boy. I followed him over from Home Depot to Pennzoil, and it's going well. He's finally showing the potential he has. He was decent over at Home Depot and with Joe Gibbs Racing, but he was always going to be third in line. Now he's with Penske, and I would say he's technically second in line behind Brad, but Joey has 2 wins this year. That's pretty good for somebody of his age. And I just keep growing my Logano collection, and this was the first one I bought. This was the one I got for $16. It was the Nationwide with the rookie stripes, number 20, GameStop, signed right there. And the second one I bought was again with the rookie stripes. I think it was 2009 Home Depot, number 20, signed right there on the windshield. And the third one I bought, I actually bought from Garrett that he got signed at a race. It's a chrome number 20, Dollar General, signed there in gold, which I like because it matches the chrome. But then my favorite one was those three. The first two I bought on eBay. The next one I bought from Garrett. But the most recent ones I've gotten, I actually had the honor of actually getting signed in person. It's this one, what I would call his absolute rookie car, with the rookie stripes, with his first ever Sprint Cup when he was Home Depot number 2. So he got a kick out of seeing that one. I live here in Woodbridge, Virginia, but I go to college down in St. Augustine, Florida, which is about 30 minutes north of Daytona. So this year I got to go to my first ever NASCAR race. This year's Daytona 500, and I had a blast. Living here in Virginia, I never made it to Richmond, but going to Daytona 500 for your first race is pretty cool. With the rain delay, well, going into the race, I didn't really know what I was getting into because I'd only ever watched it on TV. But it was a whole nother experience. Even if you don't like NASCAR, I think you would have fun at a race. It's just so much going on, and it's a great time. With the rain delay, I didn't know you could leave and come back. That's what a lot of people did. So I was there for 13 hours, but it gave me a chance to walk around Daytona and see all the stuff there was there. Um, there was no downtime. There was 13 hours worth of stuff to do, so that was a lot of fun. But the best part about Daytona, the actual track to me was the food. Uh, they had this thing called the Mac Daddy Burger, and that's what I had during the rain delay. This hamburger that had macaroni and cheese and bacon on top of it. It's probably the best hamburger I've ever had. But then the best part of Daytona week to me was actually not the race. It was all the events they had during the week. There were tons and tons of fan events. Everybody was everywhere. It doesn't matter if it was the crew chiefs or if it was the legends. Everybody had something going on. And I believe it was Wednesday, which was the hot signing day. Um, every store, I'm talking Walmart, Winn-Dixie, Outback had who's the Outback driver? Kevin Harvick, maybe. Um, he was at Outback signer. Yeah, I think it's Kevin Harvick. Um, so I had a couple for college. We can miss 20% of our classes. So I managed to I called in sick that day. Let's put it that way. So I could go down to Daytona and because Joey Logano was doing a signing at Walmart in Daytona. So I wanted to meet my favorite driver for the first time. And I get there, there's only about 20 people in line, which kind of puzzled me because the line, Winn-Dixie was across the street, and I believe Danica Patrick was there signing autographs, and she had hundreds and hundreds of people in her line. And then I get to Walmart, and there's only like 20 for Joey, which I thought was kind of shocking, but it made it better for me because I was there, and I was literally the only one wearing Logano gear. Um, Everybody else, there were tons of other different driver fans there. I guess they were just there to get an autograph. And Joey's a big fan of people who uh, support him, and understandably, he's not a big fan of people who don't. And everybody, all the Walmart people kept saying that he would sign one item per person, but I'm assuming they thought there would be a bigger crowd. So Joey comes out and he says, "I'll sign everything you guys have." And uh, the first two people in line were both wearing Jimmy Johnson gear, and there were two people and they each had 8 die casts for Joey. Not gonna assume they were dealers, but that's kind of what they look like. And Joey wasn't having any of it. He signed one each and told him to leave, which I was kind of happy he did. And he was kind of going. He looked at the crowd and he was going through. Didn't look like he was having a good time until I get up to the table. I had my Joey Logano shirt on, my red shell Joey Logano hat. He looks at me and gives me the biggest smile. And he looks at me and he's like, "This is why I do autograph signings. I enjoy seeing my real fans." And everybody else, he was just signing and pushing them through. I was probably at his table for a good 10 minutes, just talking to him, just shooting the breeze with him. He signed this diecast for me, and also he signed a 16 by 20 of his car. And he was telling me stories about what race it was from, and um, just all that kind of stuff. But then the cool things were I got to ask him a question that had been on my mind. I don't know if you guys noticed, but recently Joey has changed his signature. Uh, this is what it used to look like. Uh, he used to write Joey and then loop around and write Logano. But now It's two separate words, Joey and Logano. And as an autograph collector, I wondered what made the switch, what made him change his signature. And he said when he got to Penske, people, especially Roger Penske, told him it was time to grow up and get a big boy signature, which I thought was pretty funny because if you always look at things online signed by Penske drivers, especially Brad Keselowski, he'll sign it. Brad will sign it. It'll be an 8x10 picture. He'll sign as big as he possibly can. He's kind of known for that. So Joey had to match Brad. So we got a big kick out of that. But then the coolest thing to me was as I was leaving, uh, I talked to him about how my best friend and I have this back and forth going on how whose driver's better, Joey or Kyle. And every week when we watch the races, we don't care who wins. If if um, if Joey and Kyle finish 21st and 26th, whoever's driver finished 21st has bragging rights for the week. That's a win in our book, which I think is kind of cool. And Joey had a big laugh about that. And then as I was leaving, I flashed him a smile and said, "If you get a chance, run into Kyle Busch." And we both laughed and just walked away. But if you guys watched the All-Star race this year, what happened? Kyle spun out. Joey crashed right into him. I'm not saying he did that for me, but I think I kind of would like to think he did. So that's my story about how I like Joey Logano. He might not be the most popular or the best, but he's my favorite driver, and that's what he means to me. So if you're not subscribed to Garrett, great guy. His link will be in the description below. Definitely go give him a sub. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.